With Scream 6 coming out tonight as I record this, and me watching it tonight, I'm going to go over some things I do and don't want to see with this movie, some theories I have or seen, and go over some general reviews I have seen for this movie. Then after I see it tonight, I'm going to come back, do a spoiler and non-spoiler review, not in that order, and basically talk about how I felt about the movie. So going in, a lot of the things I do and don't want to see mostly have to do with Ghostface or kills I want to see in the movie, and same with the theories. Starting with things I don't want to see with this movie is another reveal like Amber's. It kind of felt like she just gave up trying to hide her identity, and then she goes back to wearing the mask immediately after. I'm like, you already revealed yourself, so just go ahead and take the mask off. And for you saying, oh, well, no, it was Richie in the mask. Like, I'm pretty sure we see her take off the mask afterwards. And I just find that weird, and I just don't want to see a reveal like that anymore, because it's like, save it. Like, save it for the end, because I'd be worth it. Because at that point, there's not many other people that could be the Ghostface, because Mindy and Chad were attacked, Liv is dead, Sam is definitely not it, Gail and Sydney are definitely not it, and Tara is injured. I mean, they could have made it where she was a mastermind, but there's not really many options. And also, what the thing is, like, going into this movie, I didn't really know who the killers were going to be. I'm going into Scream 5, I didn't know who they were, not this one. And as I'm watching it, I'm like, please don't let it be the boyfriend and the goth chick. Please don't let it be the boyfriend and the goth chick. And it was them. So it's like, I think it's also based off the trope of goth people bad or boyfriend bad and all that. And that actually leads me into my next thing I do not want to see. I do not want to see another boyfriend/girlfriend Ghostface. And you might say, well, we haven't had many of those. Yeah, kind of. Yeah, that's kind of true. But my thing is, Scream 1... Billy was Sydney's boyfriend, and he was a Ghostface. Scream 2, Derek was supposed to be a Ghostface, but due to leaks and rewrites, he was no longer a Ghostface killer. So technically, there's no boyfriend and girlfriend killer in that. And Scream 4, Charlie was in love with Kirby, so technically you could say that it was that, but it wasn't. And in Scream 5, we got Richie, who is a Ghostface, who is also Sam's boyfriend. And you might say, well, that's only 2, possibly 3. But in leaks versions of the script, we see that actually Amber was supposed to be Tara's girlfriend. And I think a lot of people might say, oh, they removed it because of homophobia. I mean, I don't think that's the case. I think it's because they saw, okay, so now both killers are in relationships with the two main characters. Let's fix that. And it was easier to make Amber Tara's friend than it was to make Richie Sam's friend, because it just makes no sense for her friend to come along when they're not that close to Woodsboro. So we're technically over the whole franchise. There were supposed to be 4 girlfriend-boyfriend killers. I think it worked to Scream 5 just because they were going back to the original and they were trying to mimic the original movie. I just think I don't want to see that anymore, because it's kind of overplayed at this point. Okay, I know Zach Cherry has talked about this a lot. I don't want another stab motive. Like, in this movie, yes, for starters, yes, we technically have only had 1 stab motive for the killers, but with the Scream 5 marketing, it was like focusing on legacy, and all that. I kind of expected it to be a relative of one of the Ghostface or one of the victims coming back. And even Stu would have been perfect the way the marketing was. But it just turned out to be, oh, they're just stab fans and all that. And with the way the trailer and the footage for this movie and some set photos we have had gotten of a shrine to all Ghostface, past Ghostface killers, and we do see posters for Stab, makes me think we might get another crazy fan. But if it is another crazy fan, I hope it's not of the Stab movies, and I hope it's a fan of one of the previous Ghostface killers. Because I think the motives are best when they're personal. Look at Scream 2. We had Billy's mom with a personal motive, but then we also have Mickey with a I just want to be famous motive, and that worked together because the main reason the Ghostface are back is because of something personal. And look at Scream 4. While yes, Jill wanted to be famous, she was also jealous of Sydney's fame and all that. So it was a personal motive mixed in with a fame motive, and I think that works best when at least one motive is based around personal issues. So moving into things I want to say for this movie, So, going into this, I'm like, it'd be cool if there's 3 killers. And no, I do not want 3 killers all working together. I think it'd be cool if we got 3 killers, 2 of them are working together, but there's a side killer that no one knows about. Like, they just assume there's 2. And at the end, it's kind of revealed that there's a 3rd one, which could lead into my next point, a cliffhanger for the next movie. And the way I can see this working is, so it's 2 of the Ghostface are working together, one's a side character. And so, how I imagine this playing out is, we see Tara get killed in front of Sam by a Ghostface. And at the end of the movie, either one or both of those Ghostface survive. And Tara's like, okay, so which one of you killed my sister? A Ghostface killed my sister. And they're like, neither of us killed your sister. And it kind of sets up like, oh, so there's a 3rd one that no one knows about. And that can lead to like a cliffhanger for another movie. And I know I've seen people say they don't want a cliffhanger because all these Scream movies have been a book. Like, instead of it being a chapter of a story, they're all just like a book, open and close. So instead of like having 6 chapters in them, that was just 6 books. And that actually leads into something I do want to see in the movie is, I want to see at least one Ghostface survive and either go to jail or escape. Due to the fact that in Scream 4, Jill was supposed to survive, the scene of her being hauled into the hospital was supposed to be the last scene. She survives and goes on into the next movie. Because originally they had planned a trilogy, 4, 5, and 6. But due to it not performing well, they canceled that. So they killed off Jill. And I think it would have worked, like, saying, she survives and goes on and does more killings or something like that. That's something I want to see. Because at this point, every Ghostface has died. Billy Stu died. Debbie, Mrs. Loomis and Mickey died. Roman died. And all that. And it also kind of leads to my next point. So, Scream is technically a whodunit murder mystery. But it's technically not. The closest... Because while they say they're going to try to figure out who the killers are, they never do. And even in the movie, they never even try to figure out who it is. They're just going around spreading accusations and all that. And it's like, I kind of want them to like figure out who it is. Because look at Scream Season 2. She figures out who the killer is before he reveals his identity. And even if, if the main character finds out their identity, they can easily just call the cops. So I want a side character to figure out who it is. And before they get to tell anyone, they get killed. That way they still keep the aspect of a whodunit and someone actually figures it out. Because at this point, it's just revealed to them. And this next one kind of goes into the no more stab moves. I want to see something more personal, like a reason why. And with the whole, like I said, with the whole shrines to previous Ghostface, and we see the Stab posters, it might just be a deranged fan of Stab. And like, I don't like that again, just because like, I like the personal moves a lot better than the, oh, I'm just a fan of Stab. And finally, something I want to see in this movie is better chase scenes. Because like in Scream 5, we didn't really get any chase scenes. And also I've seen a review that the chase scenes in this movie is supposed to be better than the best chase scenes out of the whole franchise, even Scream 2. And I hope that's true, but I'll get more into that with the reviews I have seen. And so, like, yeah, I want to see more chase scenes and better chase scenes. So, before I get into the theories I've seen, and I kind of have an idea of, is I want to go with the Stu theory. So, the theory is that Stu is alive. And where this came from was, Scream 3 was originally supposed to be a cult of Ghostface orchestrated by Stu in prison. So, he was supposed to be alive and running the whole thing. But due to real-life historical events, they had to cancel that. And in Scream 5, we see a conspiracy theory video while Richie is looking up reviews of Stab 8, and we see that there's a theory that how Stu could survive. And that's also the same scene that we know that Kirby lived. And so if it was Scream 5, I would have been, yeah, Stu can come back. Because with the marketing and all that, it would have made sense. But with also Neve Campbell not returning, I don't think Stu returning as a Ghostface killer will make any sense. Because at this point, Gail's the only one who knows Stu, who knew Stu, but she barely knew him. So it's like there'll be zero connection there. Kirby never met him. Gale barely met him. So I think him returning as a Ghostface would not work without Sidney. And I think if he was to return as a Ghostface killer, 5 would have been the best bet. And I think it's at this point it's just too late. But I do see him returning in this movie, not as a Ghostface, but as like. So before I continue, I do want to mention the fact that people might question, how did he out of jail? He's a killer. He killed people. He should be in jail for life. And yes, but a lot of people are saying, oh, he can make a plea deal. And basically I can see that working as the people are like, okay, so you just tell us everything that happened, why you and Stu did this, and all of that, and we can see about getting you less time. And he takes it, and now he's out after 20 years or so, however long between the movies. And I see that working, and him coming back to New York to find Gale. At this point, I don't know if he would have talked to Sidney, or if she's the last person he wants to talk to on that. And he could be like, okay, I know I can't, I know me apologizing does not change anything I have done. All this is because of me and Billy. And I just want to know I'm sorry. And all that. And then as these killings are happening, people are putting 2 and 2 together. It's like, you were a Ghostface killer. Now you're in New York. Another Ghostface shows up. And they don't trust him. I can see it working like that. But with him as an actual Ghostface killer, it does not work anymore. And I think 5 was the best bet. But now it's too late. Okay, and so these next stories kind of lean into a returning character being Ghostface. Because I have seen people talk about, oh, they want a returning character as Ghostface, which is interesting. But like I have seen people see, you gotta change up the character somehow. You gotta make the move make sense. And with characters like Sidney and Gale, I have seen people say, oh, watch Gale be the Ghostface. After all that Sidney and Gale has been through, especially with Dewey, they will never be a Ghostface. And it's why this next story I used to believe in, but after seeing the trailer for this new movie, it will not work. And that is Tara being a Ghostface killer. I'm like, first I'm like, yeah, it could work. But now seeing that, she is strictly terrified in that movie. She's crying in the trailer for the new movie. And I really don't think she'll be a Ghostface after what she's been through. Like, she was basically hospitalized and almost died in the last movie. So I don't see her becoming a Ghostface. And you might say, well, in between the movies, she might realize, oh, this is because of Sam and all that. And Sam's like getting too close to me, like she's not giving me personal space. I just don't see that working like that. Like, I don't see her becoming a Ghostface ever. And the next one is like, I've seen people say, oh, Kirby might be the Ghostface because why would she be back? And to be honest, I don't think that will work either, just because of, I think if we see a returning Ghostface, like a returning character be a Ghostface, it'll have to be out of the new crew, just because like it's been a while since we've seen Kirby. And with her being like a, I think FBI or CIA agent, I just don't think it will work. And also, I don't think people want that. I just think people want Kirby back as Kirby, not as a killer. Okay, so this leads to my theory about how a returning character could be a Ghostface, and that's simply Mindy. From what I could tell from the movie, the last movie, Mindy looked like a person who's like, if someone says that's effed up or that's fucked up, she might agree and might do something about it. So I can see it as, and yes, I know in the trailer we see her get attacked, air quotes, by a Ghostface, but he just puts his hand over her mouth. I can see it playing out as a new killer comes to town, gets a hold of Mindy and says, all of this, your uncle dying, your brother and you being attacked and almost dying, because of Billy Loomis. But since Billy is dead, Sam is the next bet. And I can see her saying, yeah, like, oh, this is because of him, and all that. And so I can see her kind of going as a Ghostface just to get revenge on Billy, but since he's dead, Sam will be the next best thing. And it's like, from the looks of it, yes, she was friends with Tara, but at the same time, it looks like she could have just been there because her brother was there. Like, her and her brother are like, close, and so whatever friend group he's in, she's going to be in. And yes, I don't think it's 100% foolproof, but I think she is, like, if a returning character would be a Ghostface, she will be the best choice. Because, like, Sam definitely no. Because, yeah, Sam definitely no. Tara no. Chad, I doubt it because he doesn't seem like someone who would do that. And I think Mindy would be the best choice, considering that all that is because of Billy. So getting into the reviews I have seen people say this is a perfect movie, which I highly doubt that. I love Scream, but no Scream is ever going to be a perfect movie due to the fact of the way they write the Ghostface characters. Because they don't really, I think the closest we have gotten to them writing the actual character properly is in Scream 1, when if a Ghostface attack Billy's not there, then Billy asks, has a phone. And I'm not saying that Billy's not, these characters are not proper characters. It's just, they aren't written as if they're Ghostface. So the character itself is written one way, but then when they were revealed as a Ghostface, they're written another way. And they never really cross paths, if you kind of see what I'm saying. So I don't think this movie is ever going to be perfect because they won't write the character as if they're Ghostface. They just write as if they're a victim. Then once they find out the Ghostface, that's when they become an actual Ghostface killer. But and also it's I've seen people say that this movie is better than the last one, and I'm I hope it is. I love Scream 5. There are problems, but that's not why I'm saying it should be better. I'm saying any sequel should be better than the one that came before it. And back to the chase scenes. I heard this movie is supposed to have the best chase scenes ever, which I hope is true, especially since it's set in New York. They can have a lot more set pieces and a lot more areas to run in, and I think it will work. Especially since it's on Halloween, it might be someone, they're just getting pranked, or they're just scared, and someone's jokingly chasing them. And that's what I like about it, because Ghostface can be anywhere. Legit. They released a clip of him in a bodega on Halloween night, and no one's batting an eye until someone gets stabbed. And but with the only time we have seen a Ghostface out in public is when it's just Sydney and in a small group. It's never there's a public group, a public gathering of people, unless it's the barn scene in Stab 4, but no one really sees that Ghostface except Gale. So yeah, hopefully that made sense. And after that's everything I don't want to see, things I do want to see, some theories, and so go with some reviews. So after I see the movie, which for y'all will be in a couple of seconds, I'll go over a non-spoiler review and a spoiler review of what I thought about the movie. Holy. So I'm back from seeing Scream 6. And honestly, it is way better than Scream 5 in my opinion. And at the same time, I am coming back from first viewing bias. So it may take a couple more viewings to actually form their actual opinion. But it is actually pretty good. And Manhattan does give it a fresh take. This does subvert the expectations and the the norm and the mold of the Scream movies. So before I go over everything, this will be a spoiler-free part, and the spoiler part will come later. I think it was a good movie. The chase scenes were well done. Ghostface was brutal. I'm trying to figure out what classifies as a spoiler and what classifies as a non-spoiler. Because saying he stabs, that's not a spoiler, but it's he is brutal, he stabs a lot. And I think, this next part ain't really a spoiler because they have announced it before. When he has a cracked mask, and it helps basically tell the difference between a random person on the street wearing a Ghostface mask and him wearing. So it's a practical part for the movie, and also it looks cool. So I do agree with Chris from 3C Films. The motive, in my opinion, is lackluster. I'll get into what the motive was and if it was personal or not in the spoiler part. And it's something about these Ghostface that kind of feel off, in my opinion. I don't know what it is about these Ghostface, but they feel off, in my opinion. Look, I can't really put my finger on it, and I'll give more of that later. But overall, yeah, it's a good movie. The chasing was good. It was brutal. It's very a fresh take on the Scream formula. And like with it, well, my thing is, I like when it comes to these movies, when they announced that it was supposed to take place in Manhattan this time, it was like a lot of like not like it was like big news that Manhattan. But it's like Scream 2 takes place in Ohio, and Scream 3 takes place in Hollywood. So it's not like they always stay in Woodsboro. So it's like, but yeah, with it being like crowded and all that, it does set up for some action. Okay, so there are a couple of scenes that my heart was pounding, and like I have never felt that way during any Scream movie. Part of it's due to the fact of when the first one came out, I wasn't born yet, and when Scream 4 came out, I wasn't really a fan of Scream at the point. So it's like I kind of knew what was going on with those movies and like knew what was going to happen. And with Scream 5, it wasn't just like there was no suspense in Scream 5, and in this movie, there's a lot of suspense. And like with one character, and when it comes to red herrings, they do have plenty of red herrings in this movie. And when it comes to one of them, I feel like they push it too much at one point. And yeah. So going in with the I don't really know much more I can say about without spoiling. Like I don't see how people can make 16-minute long videos doing non-spoiler videos. Like, but yeah. Okay, so like I don't know what else I could say that wouldn't spoil it. Like I said, it's a good movie and all that. So I guess I'll just get into the non-spoiler now. So if you have not seen the movie, leave, come back later, or if you don't care, it doesn't matter. So I'm going to try to go at this a certain way. I don't know what that way is yet, but so let's talk about the opening scene. This had me saying, what the fuck is happening? Simply for the fact of, so it starts off with this teacher, a film professor. She's going on a date with a guy on a dating app. I don't know what the dating app is. And so she goes outside to try to help. And he's like, hey, can you come into the alley and look for me? And first of all, she's a she teaches about slashers. Yet she goes in the alley in New York at night near Halloween. You're not a good teacher if that you're falling for that. And so this Ghostface comes out and brutally kills her. And this is where it takes a turn. The camera lingers on Ghostface's mask, and he pulls it off. And we actually get to see who the killer is. And we actually stay with him for a while. So we see who it is. It's totally... Okay, so the first dead is Samara Weaving, which a lot of people predicted. And the person who killed her is Tony Leroy Jason. Sorry if I pronounced his last name wrong. And so we see him take his mask off. He goes to take off his mask and his cloak and all that. He puts it in a bag, and he starts to walk back. He walks away. But then he actually bumps into Tara. And she's like, hey, we're going to this party. You want to come? And then he goes to do something. I don't remember what her excuse was. So we see him go home. And he says, I'm not sure exactly what's the situation. But he says, honey, I'm home. But it's a guy he's calling out to. So I don't know if they're just good friends and that's a joke they do. Or if they're actually a couple. But... So he's walking around, and we see him put a mask inside a cabinet full of different masks and stab posters. So I'm like... So at first when I saw that he took off the mask, I'm like, so are we going to go through this whole movie knowing who the killer is? Unfortunately, that's not the case. So he gets a call from a friend, and it's revealed that him and his friend are both film students at the university that Tara goes to, and that what they're doing is they're finishing Richie's movie. And Richie's going to come up a lot in this movie. And then eventually, the person on the phone is a Ghostface killer. He takes him to he basically shows his make the way to the fridge. He opens the fridge, and his roommates or his partner in crime, is chopped up in the fridge. Then up pops a Ghostface, killing his character. So that's 3 kills right there in the opening, but we see 2, and one of them was a Ghostface. Not a main Ghostface, but one of the opening kills was a Ghostface. I'm just gonna say this: it is not better than the original Scream opening, and I have to watch it a couple more times to figure out if it's better than Scream 2. But in my opinion, it's up there. It's a top 3 opening scene. So getting into the movie, we find out that between last movie and this movie, which is a year, people on a Reddit type site are making up theories that Sam is the actual killer, because I guess someone outed her as Billy's daughter between then. And so we see people making up theories that, Sam was the true mastermind and she framed Billy and Amber. So it's causing her to get a lot of hate to the point where people are throwing drinks on her, recording her to basically get a reaction and all that. And then so she's talking to a doctor, talking about how when she killed Richie, it felt right. And eventually, he kind of judges her, so she leaves. And so when she goes back to her apartment, we see her friend, her roommate, Quinn. And she's basically like, "Oh, I'm sorry, but Tara went to this party." So Sam goes after Tara. She tases a guy in the dick. I don't know how else to say that. She tases a guy in the dick. And that kind of Tara gets upset because, first of all, the guy was going to date rape her. Tara was drunk and he was going to take advantage of her. So she did a good thing. Not Tara, but Sam did a good thing. But Tara gets upset and is like, "You have been up my ass. You followed me to New York. You have been up my ass for the past 6 months. Give me some space. I know what I'm doing with my life. What are you going to do?" And so, yes. I feel like that's the easy way to put in drama. It's just that. So it's and people predicted that was going to be some type of drama in the movie, because it's just an easy way to do it. And so, then when they get home, Tara and Chad are talking and all that, and they're going to kiss each other, but then they get cock blocked by Quinn, which is Tara's and Sam's roommate. Which, to be honest, in the scene we hear noises. I knew Tara was going to this party, but we hear noises coming from a room, some sexual noise. I kind of thought that Sam was going to walk in on Tara having sex, but that's not the case. And then, so after finding out, so then the core 4 plus the roommates and Mindy's girlfriend see on screen that Tony Revolori's character and his roommate were found dead, chopped up. And then the Detective Bailey, he finds Sam's ID at the crime scene, so it basically calls on the questioning. And this is where Kirby comes in, because the FBI is taking over the crime scene. And she's basically asking, "Hey, Sam, can you help us?" And Sam's like, "No, well, we're out of here." And they're like, "Well, you technically can't leave the state because you're a key witness," similar to what happened with Sydney in Scream 4. So she's like, "Fine," but they just leave. And then they're swarmed by paparazzi, and then you hear the infamous Gale Weathers coming in. And Sam's like, "Really? You want to talk to us after you promised not to write a book, and then you wrote a book about what happened?" And she's like, Dewey would be disappointed. But she goes to punch Gale Weathers, and she dodges it, saying, "I've been through that." But then Tara comes in with the right hook and punches Gale, knocking her down. Okay, I want to skip through a lot of this due to the fact that if I recap the entire movie, it's going to be a while. So we see Quinn die, we see Mindy's girlfriend die, and that scene was... my heart was racing on that. introduced is Danny, which is basically the new love interest for Sam. And so they actually find the shrine, thought to be part of the Tony's character and his roommate, which I'm going to start calling Jason and Greg because that's their character's name. It thought to be belonging to them, but eventually we find out it's not. And there's things that belong to everyone. So the theater comes in. Actually, you know what? I am not going to recap the movie. I might do that later. But my point is, Gail almost dies. I think at a certain point they kind of push Kirby as a killer too much. Like, because at the end of the deal, she seems a little creepy. Like they come up with the plan to track to Laura and Ghostface, and the way she locks the door and says shit makes it seem like she's Ghostface. Then the detective calls up and say, "Hey, Kirby was let go 2 months ago for being unstable," and they are pushing for her to be the killer, but she's not. And I feel the same way about the boyfriend, especially after they found out he's not the killer. And I kind of felt like he was just going to stab her, like, oh, he's a secret fourth killer. And yes, there are 3 killers. And I know I said 1 of 3 killers, but I don't think this movie needed 3 killers. For the simple fact of... So the killers are revealed to be Detective Bailey, Quinn, who was thought to be dead, but survived, and this new guy named Ethan, I believe. But they are actually revealed to be Richie Kutch's father, sister, and brother. And they're trying to get revenge for Sam killing him. I'm like, yeah, that's basically the plot. Like, yes, it's more personal. But I feel like there's a piece missing. Like, there's something missing from the motive. And then just the brother and sister, I feel like there's, I don't know, okay, so I kind of feel like they're trying to do both a Richie character and then an Amber character, or a Stu type character, where they're both level-headed, but also crazy. And for me, it's not really working out. And it's just I don't know. But then it's revealed that the shrine that we see actually belonged to Richie. And all that was Richie stuff, which kind of explains how Al got there. As far as just a cop. Sorry if I'm young, it's late and I'm tired. But yeah. So yeah. So I will go into more detail about the movie. It's just, if I do that, I kind of feel like I'll be recapping the movie, and I don't want to do that right now. I might go back to watch it again, and then do a recap, just because I don't want this to be too long. So yeah, I think the motive overall lacking, and there were 3 killers, but I just don't feel like, I feel like 2 of the 3 killers were missing something. And it's I've kind of felt like they could have been possible, either leave out the dad and the dad be innocent, or leave out the sister and have it be a father and brother thing, father and son thing. But and yeah, so they do mention where Sydney is, and it's basically a well-known comic saying Sydney and Mark is just getting the children out, they're just going away. And to be honest, so they do say, the Ghostface say, we're going to kill everyone who had a hand in killing Richie. So yeah, that means Sydney wouldn't be safe, but who knows. So basically, out of the main returning 4 characters, not counting Gail, we see Mindy getting attacked, the same scene on the subway that we see in the trailer, and then we see Chad getting attacked and die, he doesn't actually die, we think he dies. But from this movie, I can tell that Tara, Sam, Mindy, and Chad are the Sydney, Dewey, and Gil of this new trilogy simply for the fact of they can't die. Which, I love these characters. I don't want them to die, but at the same time, it's like, it's unrealistic that all four will come back out alive. And I kind of feel like they would pull like a Randy, where, well, it makes sense because the nieces and nephew of Randy, well, one of them would die in this movie, which I thought that was gonna be Mindy, and then I saw Chad get attacked and pretty much die, which he should have died instead of surviving. And I thought, okay, so now it's just Sam and Tara. But then we get confirmation that both Gail and Mindy survived the attacks. And yes, like, Gail gets attacked early in the movie in her apartment. And at first it looks like she's gonna make it, like, because she has a couple of cuts on her leg and arms. But then she gets stabbed with a piece of giant glass. And then she's on the ground, like, basically, not begging, but, like, about to pass out. And then all of a sudden, Ghostface comes out with a knife. But luckily, she was able to stop it. And then luckily, before he was able to push it all the way down into her face, here comes Sam. Sam to the rescue. And all that. And so it was like it kind of looked like she did die because, like, she closed her eyes and basically passed out. But an EMT says she has a weak pulse. So she gets rushed to the hospital, and it's confirmed that Gail and Mindy are both alive. See, I like what they did with Kirby in this movie. It's like, she does get shot, so you think she's dead, but she basically survives. I'm not going to get much into her character and all that, because it is late, and I'm getting tired, and I just want to finish this, so I have a lot of... But at the end of the day, I did like what they did with her character. She does survive at the end. But there is a scene where... So the brother comes back up. He's at the final jump scare. And we see someone push the TV over. I'm like... But we don't see who it is. I'm like... Is this how they bring Stu back? Is somehow Stu get in there and push TV? No, it's just Kirby. I think that would have been hilarious if it was a Stu, but no. But then, like, okay, so one thing I do like about Mindy's character, like, you know, it's like, I'm going to guess them correctly this time. I'm going to guess correctly. And then she gets stabbed, and she's like, oh, I didn't guess correct. I guessed wrong again. Technically, she didn't, because she guessed the right person. And then, at the end, when she, basically when she comes from running from the hospital, she's like, did I miss the monologue again? Like, I just find that funny. So basically, from what we see from this movie, so Scream 5 was all about toxic fandoms and recalls. This is about franchises and people believing anything they see on the internet. And it does not work as well as the Scream 5 part did. But yeah. And there is a post-credit scene I saw on YouTube. It's just Mindy staring at the camera saying, not everything needs a post-credit scene. So before I go, I do want to quickly jump in on the Sydney's not returning. And, like, to be honest, I'm happy she's not returned. Because at some point, she's going to be too old. She's not going to want to do this anymore. And then what's going to happen? If we have Sydney returning for every movie, then at some point she just stops. People are going to get upset. And people are upset now. It would have been nice to have her. But this makes sense. And yeah, so that's basically all I have. If you're watching this on YouTube, please press like and subscribe. If you're listening to it on a podcast, leave a review. Tell me what I could do better on this. Yes, I know some of the audio is weird, and like my voices are weird, but yeah. And like maybe I'll get around to doing a full, not breakdown, but just like a full recap of the movie. It's just that's a lot to do, and this is already running at close to 40 minutes. So see you next time.